There we go. Okay. Oh, when I turn my camera on, it gets a bit janky. So, hey everyone, it's Friday. So I'm hanging out here all by myself. Anyway, that was awful. Thank you for your hate mail. The funny thing is, I wouldn't be caught dead doing karaoke in real life, but because there's nobody here, it's okay. I can get away with it. Activity feed. Let's go see who's been kind enough to grace us with their oh wow. So Sid Heresy gave us a shout out. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Sid Heresy. I think I want to say that's one of the people we rated the last time, so I appreciate that. Let's see. Mr. Mark XSH, Mar SH. Some kind of shell or something. Followed us. I appreciate that. It's the first of the month, so if you're Prime subscribing, make sure that you're setting up the Prime security. Hey, Clam Security, are you new? Are you new, Clam Security? Nope. Okay, but it doesn't matter. I'm glad you're here. So thank you for coming and hanging out. I'm. God damn it! Did the Stream Elements thing not change? I am. There we go. Okay, I think that might fix it. I don't know if Stream Elements will fix it, but I don't know how other streamers do it, but I feel like I need to change the notification every time on the stream information. It's like to say one thing or another, like something pithy or something that will get people to show up. Like hey, I'm going to disarm a small explosive device on stream, or something like that, or not hey, it's just me standing in front of the camera asking you to love me or something like that. I don't know, or looking at my dog. So well, crap. Okay, see, let's have a dog. Oh, okay. So, but yeah, it's Friday, and I'm glad everybody is still here with us on this blue marble of Earth. It's been a lot of change this week. As I get closer and closer to moving down to San Diego, we're doing some austerity measures. We're getting rid of some stuff that we've had for years, and I'm getting rid of some things that I've had for years, like meetups, for instance. I've had to step down. I've stepped down from the CSEC meetup in Seattle because I was like, I don't want to string these poor folks along thinking we're going to do something for them. And I want to make sure that they have the opportunity to, maybe find somebody out of the 700 people who've joined that meetup to, do something with it. And unfortunately, it looks like nobody did. So the CSEC meetup is gone forever. Yep, it's gone. Well, oh no, there it is. It's still here. Okay, so, yeah. Currently no organizer. Okay, I think it's like 10 days. So I think I dropped it last Friday, so it may last until, oh, there it goes. Stream Elements changed. Sweet. So yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic in the next couple days that somebody will come in and be the organizer of that, but it's hard. It's hard, Okay. It's hard to want to find the energy to create community. I don't know how the rest of you are, all of you are about community. When I moved up here from Austin, which had I would say a fairly vibrant InfoSec community. When I moved to Austin, I wasn't in InfoSec, but in the 7 years that we were there, we there was ISSA. I met Mr. Betcher, and we started podcasting just before I left there. So the podcast has been pretty much the entire time I've been up in Seattle. But we had ISSA chapter. We had, folks that were, active in the ISSA down there. And when I got up here, it was like there wasn't much of that. It was the same ISSA, but it was very much smaller, and it was a different vibe. And I don't know if it's because of the big businesses that we have up here that are loath to actually um, uh, support that, or folks that it's just a different vibe altogether. And it took a while to get people out to where they would be willing to go do things. The only meetup I knew of when I moved up here was B-side Seattle. Uh, there goes a neighbor. So yeah, it was just one of those things, building up network. I at the time, Megan Wu, Toten, I think she's still Totenkopf on. At the time, she was Totenkopf. If she's changed it, that's different. But meeting her after following her on Twitter for so many years, I was like, oh my God, it's Megan Wu, uh, and both of us realizing that something needed to be done, and it needed to be a better way. And I had, when I was in San Diego, I was with a group of folks, Star Trek fan club, as a matter of fact, that would go out every other Tuesday of the month and meet up at a local restaurant, hang out, and shoot the shit and talk to one another and build that family. And I suggested similar to Megan. I was like, hey, we could do something like that. There's so many restaurants. We could do something in the East County. And, we started CSEC East because I was like, well, there's already a CSEC. And, at the time I remembered there were the BurbSec stuff going on in Chicago. So there was BurbSec North, South, East, West, and Central. And I was like, hey, we could do something like that. That'd be cool. And we started CSEC East. I didn't ask if, hey, CSEC, are you okay with me using CSEC East? I didn't see any kind of, copyright or anything like that available. Otherwise, I would have called it just a bunch of people who want to come and eat at a restaurant sec or something like that. Something real pithy like that. But it's hard because, you put yourself out there. I know the first couple times we had a CSEC East meetup, it was just Megan, myself, and her husband. And then, a little while later, it gained a little more steam, and we had, folks like Sundar, who many of you have met, Sundar K. And at one time we had 20, 30 people showing up at a time, and that was in the before times of the pandemic, where I actually had to. I think if any of you are know what BJ's is, it's like almost like a cheesecake factory, but it's less cheesecake. And having to make a reservation for 20 people to come to a meetup, and then finding out, well, 25 people showed up because they didn't all RSVP. Was kind of an interesting thing. So the last one we did here Wednesday had about 7 or 8 people. 6. We had 6. But those people RSVP'd, and I appreciate them. And there were some of our regulars that have come, Ted and Don and Walt, and CPO Parker. If you're on, thank you for coming on Wednesday. I appreciate that. But yeah, it's I did reiterate to them that I'm leaving. Probably will turn CSEC East off in April. Because I don't want to get charged another $108 for meetup. Because if you go over a certain level of number of people, they expect you to pay for that. There must be better ways of doing that. I guess you could do an Eventbrite or something like that, or what have you. Maybe it's not as cost effective these days to use Meetup. I don't know. But there's getting the energy and getting the want to build community is not an easy thing. Oh, the color's right. Okay. Wait a minute. 1 second. Okay. The reason I did that was I had noticed that, like, when I don't know why I have so many things that are blue-green all of a sudden, but the colors were not being rendered properly on this. And this is actually a fairly complicated, green to blue structure. And when I was using it the other day and running the camera through, I don't know if it was because there was some poor grounding or something, but everything would show up as one solid green color. And I was like, this is not green, but it was, I think it's probably a bad ground or something like that. So I also wondered if it was the change in the color of the wall behind me. But yeah, Clam Security, how's your week been? Where's my mouse? There it is. One of the joys of having a server that does streaming for you is I have a laptop that I was doing my streaming on originally. Now that I have my big, nice, fat, refurbished server that I spent money on, I'm finding myself using my laptop less, and it's kind of sad because I spent a good deal of money for that laptop, and now I find I'm only using it when I'm sitting in the living room and not here at Breakstack World headquarters. So having that that big machine no longer being used is kind of a funny thing. So. So let me see. I want to put out a podcast as well. So let me go ahead and let me do I'm going to need to create some scenes that are just, me talking, studio mode. Okay. So transition to big camera, small browser, or whatever it is. I screwed that up. Okay, there we go. And where's my Edge browser? Right, and Thread Intel. Ding. Okay. Make that a little bigger for everybody in the back row to see. There we go. Okay. Transition. Ding. There we go. All right, cool. So it's Friday, and we got a bunch of stuff to talk about in the world of InfoSec and security. I'm gonna give myself about a 5 count, and then I'm gonna do an intro like we're doing a podcast. That way, I can put out a 30-minute podcast or so here for some news this week, because it's been a few weeks. Miss Berlin has been out dealing with some family issues, and Mr. Betcher has been unavailable because of some work. So I'm going to put out a podcast this weekend. So give me 5 seconds. Hello, everybody. This is Brian from Breaking Down Security. I'm actually streaming this at the same time, so the people who are actually lurking are asking me, probably wondering why I'm doing an intro here. But so I'm doing a stream. Mr. Betcher, Miss Berlin are not here with me. This is a lovely Friday afternoon. And, I'm chatting with some of my people in my stream chat here. So, if you are on a podcast listener and you want to come and join me on the Twitch stream, you can, sign up and follow on Twitch, and or subscribe if you'd like. I appreciate that if you can. But, just wanted to put out some news this week. There's been a lot going on for those of you who haven't been looking. One of the things that I think we talked about earlier this week was the breach that Bleeping Computer had announced, and then all of a sudden was kind of much ado about nothing. I believe it was TD Bank. They had ran a story about a breach that had occurred, and then the story had come out that from other groups who were writing stories about the TD Bank article on Bleeping Computer, which is kind of funny because it was kind of a news about a news story about a news story. So I should know that was a thing that occurs where people will write news stories about news stories from other news sites, but it happened. But apparently it was, they said it was an insider threat issue. It wasn't nearly as big as it was initially reported because they didn't have numbers at the time. I think they were just trying to get it out on the webs as much as possible, but it got pulled fairly quickly. And so I think that's a nice lesson to ourselves to, not just take things as at stock value. Just because there was an insider thread doesn't necessarily mean they were completely owned. The way they made it sound, it was about 4 or 5 people, not 4 or 5,000 or 4 or 5 million people. It was like 4 or 5 people. And so, it's kind of interesting to see something like that actually turn out to be a nothing burger. It's like a super nothing burger. So, I'm glad to see that we could, maybe get through the week without one, or more major issues in terms of breach. We are on a Friday, and it is, depending on where you work, maybe a 3-day holiday if you are celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day, or, the guy who supposedly founded America but didn't, and did a bunch of horrible things. So I don't get it off, but other folks do. So congratulations if you're in America, the U.S., and have a 3-day weekend. So let me see. Oh, I saw this. So there's a news article to the Register. There was a Binance hack. Binance is a cryptocurrency exchange, and there we go. I'm posting that in the link to the notes. So yeah, they halted. So the cryptocurrency exchange Binance temporarily halted blockchain network on Thursday. So their entire blockchain network, in response to a cyber attack that led to the theft of 2 million Binance tokens, notationally exchangeable for $566 million in fiat currency. So yeah, there was. They say, so according to article on the Register, they say there was an exploit affecting the native cross-chain bridge between BNB Beacon Chain BEP2 and BNB Smart Chain BEP20 or BSC, known as the BSC Token Hub. A total of 2 million BNB was withdrawn. The exploit was through they use the S word, folks. Sophisticated forging of the low-level proof into one common library. So they were able to show a proof in one common library, I guess, between the both of them that was maybe synchronized between the two. And so they mentioned in a blog post, let's see open up the blog post here for the bnbchain.org. So they have an update as of 7 October. Oh, here we go. Lady P, our moderator, they were able to show a proof while holding their pinky finger out. Okay. So the proof may not have been legit, but they were able to impersonate or show a proof, even though it was an actual proof. So we don't use the S word around here, Lady P. You know that. The first line in the blog post says, "Update. First, we want to apologize to the community for the exploit that occurred. We own this." Okay. Decentralized chains are not designed to be stopped, but by contacting community validators one by one, we were able to stop the incident from spreading. It is not that easy, as the smart chain has 26 active validators at present and 44 in total across different time zones. Does that mean they're coughing up 600 million out of their own piggy bank? I don't know, Lady P, but Lady P is asking the question, does that mean they're going to, cover the $600 million that was lost? So here's an interesting question about that. When we lose money in the bank, we have government regulators and controls in place. The FDIC insures, amounts up to, I believe it's $250,000 now in the United States. The interesting thing is I don't think the blockchain or any of the cryptocurrencies have those kinds of guarantees. So my guess, Lady P, and I'm not, I don't know, but I'm guessing those people are going to be asked out, or, the right thing that the BNB chain folks should say is, yes, we're going to give the money back. They say, thanks to the assistance of all security experts, projects, and validators, the vast majority of the funds remain under control. So even if the $600 billion did happen, the majority of the funds remain under control. So it may not be a full 600 million there, Lady P. Some money may have gotten away, but some may just be sitting in another crypto account somewhere. And it sounds like they may know where some of that data, that information is. So they say there will be on-chain governance votes to determine the following actions for the common good of BNB. What to do with the hacked funds, freeze or not to freeze. That seems fairly obvious to me. You'd want to freeze them so they couldn't be, used. Whether or not to use BNB auto burn to cover the remaining hacked funds or not. Okay, so freeze the funds and also to whether we should cover the hacked funds. White hat program for future bugs found, 1 million for each significant bug found. So it's interesting. They're going to give fiat currency for a cryptocurrency system, and they're calling it a white hat program, which means they don't know what a bug bounty program is. And number 4, a bounty for catching hackers up to 10% of the recovered funds. So instead of a bug bounty program, they want a bounty on hackers up to 10% of the recovered funds. That's interesting. So that would mean, it sounds like, with number 4, that you can do some forensics on the blockchain, which I'm sure that this is very, very apropos. And you can actually catch what accounts are available. I guess the idea of the blockchain being it tracks every transaction. There's a log of the transaction inside the system itself. So you should be able to find that information and backtrack to those places. What is going on in our chat? So Discord chat is going off right now. I thought you were up and then back down, back up. Oh. Yeah, so 1 sec. So yes, I was, because I suck at changing status on the streams. So those of you listening on the podcast, before I go live, there's a few things that I'm supposed to do, which I probably should write down and go make a checkbox, compliance measures. Changing the stream elements announcement stream information is one thing that I tend to forget to do until I'm already waiting to start the stream, and then I realize that I haven't changed it in a couple weeks, or used the wrong month on several of the streams. When it should have been September, I was putting August. So yeah. But I'm streaming right now. Actually doing a podcast at the same time. There we go. So yeah, it seems to me that what they want to do is have a vote on whether or not to freeze the funds, whether or not to cover any funds that are missing, a bug bounty program, and a hacker bounty program, which is kind of funny. Hey, Beta Wolf, what's going on? Beta Wolf, also one of the fine people that joined me at CSEC East this last Wednesday. For those of you listening to the podcast who didn't catch the stream earlier before I started recording, I am divesting myself from the Seattle-based properties or communities that I have been nurturing and or building in the past 8 years up here, because I'm moving to San Diego. So I've stepped down and divested myself from the CSEC meetup, and we'll probably keep doing CSEC East until around maybe April timeframe, and then step down from that with the idea that, the couple months left here in Seattle is going to be kind of a massive hodgepodge of things to do. So if any of you are in the Seattle area and are interested in maybe taking over a slightly dented meetup group of like-minded individuals, contact me at BreakSec on Twitter, at Brian Break on Twitter, and just let me know. I don't necessarily agree with number 4. I think if you could, maybe the catching the hackers would be like catching their wallet, potentially. If you can figure out where the stolen blockchain is in what accounts. If you can do that, though, I would say, why are you not hiring people that can do that for you? Like incident response folks. Um, so Beta Wolf responds, this bad boy is a 1985 Honda Civic. Don't mind the big dent in the side. It's one hell of a deal. Yeah. It's not dented in a bad way. It's, I'd love to have folks who would be willing to, do more with it. I know we did quite a bit in the, during the pandemic with like virtual meetups. We had speakers, we had partnerships with Black Lodge, and unfortunately, we haven't been able to get back into the in-person stuff as much as I would like to. So maybe that'll happen now that we've got Omicron boosters, and this is going to feels more like a yearly event where we're going to be getting like our seasonal flu vaccines. We're going to get our somewhat seasonal, COVID vaccines, and we'll be able to do more things in the meat space. So, yeah. So yeah, to finish up the blockchain thing, they said last we owe a debt of gratitude to the community for moving so quickly to minimize what could have been a more serious incident. We're sorry for any inconvenience the suspension of the smart chain caused, but we're truly grateful to the community for their support. So, they're crowdsourcing their crypto, but apparently enough people cared to report that, which is great. I think it's Hawks fam. Hello, wasn't there a couple of other cryptos that did? Number 4 offered the hacker money to get the stolen crypto. Hawks fam, I think, well, I guess it could be read that way as well. It says a bounty for catching the hackers. I'm thinking if I'm the hacker, are they going to give me a bounty for catching myself? Not sure, but if it was really $600 million worth of cryptocurrency, 10%, that's 60 million crypto. I'm not hating that, as a person. If I could do some blockchain forensics, that would be kind of sweet, and figure out, hey, the crypto money's in this wallet, and give me my monies. They say up to 10%. So, $600 million, 60 million. Maybe they won't give you 60 million, but maybe they'll give you, 20 million. I would hope they're not like, well, 1/10 of 1% is going to be what you're going to get. But yeah, I mean, $1 million for a significant bug, if you're into bug bounties, that may not be shabby either. So, Beta Wolf says, I'd hit up a friend and ask them to go to jail for me for a bit while I have a nice bank account waiting for them to get out. Whew, man, you've got to know some real friends who want to go to, jail for you just for a nice bank account. I don't know, Beta Wolf. I don't know if there's any amount of money. I mean, yeah, you get 3 hots and a cot, but, I've seen Orange is the New Black, and it's, it's not what wait. That one probably wouldn't apply to me. I'm thinking. Yeah, Beta, it's nice to tell somebody, yeah, you got 20 million waiting for you when you get out, but I mean, what if like 8 years from now, how much we talking and how long? Yeah, okay. If it's not in the US, maybe it would be, a couple of months or something, but the US doesn't, I don't want to say they don't know how to sentence people properly, but we tend to, yeah. Well, if you put it all in speculative stock or something like that, God forbid you had it in Ethereum in 2019. Now your Ethereum's worth, nothing. So, Hawks fam's got a link to the BBC. Let me see what's going on here. Crypto hacker offered reward after 600 million heist. Yeah, the Poly Network. Okay, yeah, I think I read something about this one as well, Hawks fam. The hacker who stole 600 million was offered $500,000 and immunity as a reward for turning the money. That's, I have to wonder that risk reward. I mean, 600 million, you could keep 600 million and be on the run from the law, which, that's a lot of yachts and a lot of Lambos and, hodl and whatevers. Is that what is Beta Wolf? I can't imagine what the next Oceans series of movies is going to be like. It's just going to be a bunch of hackers sitting around a table. You hear, I got it, I'm done. That kind of thing. Was it going to be 2 hours of just, clackety clack on time? Yeah, I'm in. Yeah, exactly, Lady P. It's interesting, $500,000 in immunity. I could still do a lot with $500,000 and complete immunity from law enforcement. I don't know if law enforcement would see it that way, though. I think law enforcement would be like, they'd still want to do something from that person. I mean, unless Poly just doesn't press charges, but there may not be an offer for them to not press charges. So, one former FBI official said private companies have no authority to promise immunity from criminal prosecution. So, I could get my $500,000, but I could still be on the run from the law. So, Lady P says $500,000. That's like 2 buckets of chicken at KFC. I didn't know that family size buckets are that expensive these days. I haven't been to KFC in about a decade. So, Beta says, well, wait, you've heard of the case where the crypto lost all their money because a hacker voted on the blockchain would be the new owner of said crypto. Yeah, what if it was one of the validators who did it? I mean, we don't actually know. They didn't actually say who did the dirty deed. So yeah, it's interesting. The one thing I don't get about the crypto industry or the crypto community is how they generate their trust. And that's one thing that's always kind of bothered me about trust anyway. It's like it's given so freely in some communities without actually thinking about, what's bad that could happen here? The validation was done within Discord. Oh, well, Beta Wolf. That's perfect. Great. Hawks Fam says, with China cracking down on miners, etc., wonder where most voting on the blockchain is centered now. Would that be in the U.S. there, Hawks Fam? I'm not exactly sure. Beta Wolf says, and no one voted against him the second time he did it, and it was just like millions of dollars gone. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to know who actually was doing it. Beta Wolf, I'd imagine, if it was one of the validators who was doing it. But yeah. So Poly Network appears to have accepted the explanation and dubbed the hacker Mr. White Hat. So apparently, did this person give the money back? Hacker still holds 33 million of stolen Tether tokens. This was as of this was 13 August last year. So 13 August 2021. The hacker still holds 33 million in stolen Tether. Was there any updates to this, I wonder? Okay, so they gave back 600 million, all but 33 million. That's 2%? 2%? No, 5%, roughly 5%. Wherever the kilowatt's cheapest, I bet. Well, Hawks Fam, for a while, at least up here in Washington State, the Lake Chelan area was fairly cheap electricity because of the Grand Coulee Dam, which is we call it central. It's probably eastern Washington, but it's more central than anything else. But I believe the electricity was super cheap in that area, and they had a lot of Bitcoin farmers. Texas also has a lot of Bitcoin farmers when the temperatures were like 110 down there. I do remember us talking about the Bitcoin farmers turning off their farms down there, and that was like 1% of the total output of Texas at the time. So, oh yeah, Iceland is another one. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Iceland is geothermal energy. The funny thing, so Hawks Fam, one of the things I found out when I was in Iceland is that electricity in Iceland is not cheap, because Iceland, for whatever reason, exports their electricity to other countries. So I'm not exactly sure how they're doing, Bitcoin mining there when the electricity is like super expensive. The tour guides that I was talking to when I was in Iceland, they were like, "Oh, you think with all this geothermal energy we have, it would be cheap?" And they're like, "No, we export all of our electricity." And I was like, "Holy shit! Okay." You should be taking care of y'all's selves first before trying to supply Europe with a ton of electricity, but they do that. So maybe once I get my solar panels up, I will be able to set up, some lovely, Dogecoin or something like that. Maybe I can get my money back from my Dogecoin. Bitcoin farmer applied to Walla Walla. It was turned down as they did not trust the Bitcoin company. Oh, okay. Hey, CPO Parker, what's up? Thank you again for coming to CSEC East, CPO. Appreciate that. Yeah, now we're getting more of the Verge article here. Beanstalk cryptocurrency hack. Yeah. Wow. Beanstalk cryptocurrency project robbed after hacker votes to send themselves $182 million. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to I don't understand the trust here. It's like it's a cryptocurrency. Everybody should just blindly trust it. It's just one of those things through Discord. Ah, okay. Like many other DeFi projects. Yes, the attack was made possible by another product called a flash loan. Allows users to borrow large amounts of cryptocurrency for very short periods of time, minutes or seconds. Flash loans are meant to provide liquidity or take advantage of price arbitrage opportunities, but can also be used for more nefarious purposes. Yeah, see, this requires people with like the deep magic knowledge of cryptocurrency to be able to understand, well, I can just, take out a loan for $10 billion and then, do speculation immediately and then sell it back for, $11 billion and still pocket the billion or something like that. It's just crazy. It's just nuts. I just don't know why people are shocked when they get taken for a ride on these things. It's like you don't think about the trust issues. You just assume that everybody's in the same bucket as you. So Lady P says, if you want to stand alone from the government issued currency, then you should expect to bear the risk yourself. Yeah, see, I think so. Lady P, I think some people in the crypto region just assume that everybody trusts everybody and they're not going to do anything evil. I mean, if you don't have people like hackers who are stealing the crypto through a bridge or the token hub, like we were talking about earlier, you've got people who are just making off with the money in the blockchain, or worse, you've got the people who are creating the exchanges and then, just tearing it all down, pulling the money out of all the bank accounts and then retiring to the Crimea on their yacht. Beta, all those promises about it being decentralized and, away from government banks and not being able to be traced, none of that came true. Hating people is a learned behavior, Lady P says. They won't make that mistake again. Welcome to my world. I think people who do a lot of cryptocurrency don't have the luxury of not blindly trusting that they're going to turn their money into things. They're already pot committed, right? They can't, all those people that have bought a ton of Ethereum at $3,000, $4,000 thinking, well, it's going to shoot up like Bitcoin did. And now it's worth what? I don't know how much Ethereum is now worth. They just changed it over to a proof of Ethereum prices. Yeah, it's like $1,300. I have like $500 worth of Ethereum. I bought it like $2,500. I don't expect to ever get that money back. It's gone. But yeah, I think some of these folks that are pot committed, they can't get out without losing their ass. I think my $500 worth of Ethereum that I have sitting in a PayPal account is worth like $100 now. So, oh yeah, Hawksfam's got another link here about CoinDesk. I don't know how we got on a Bitcoin thing. I do remember the $600 million thing. So I don't know how we got on the blockchain stuff. It's easy to, point and say, haha, to these folks. But what's sad is there's people who've like mortgaged their houses thinking Bitcoin was going to be worth something. Look at this. Bitcoin is at $20,000, under $20,000, 19,500 US. That's, it was $70,000 at one time. Somebody who bought it 40,000 thinking, well, I'm going to keep it. Oh, it's 70,000 now. I made twice my money. Now they're like half their money. Crazy. I lost my butt in the .bomb. Lady P says, yeah, I'm waiting for the magic time when Elon, buys Twitter at 54.20, and I've taken my tiny 300 shares of Twitter stock that I bought when I was, working through all that, and I pocket a nice $10,000. It's going to happen. So, Yeah, no, I figured Lady P, the .com crash. Yeah, I mean, you know, everyone had stock in, things like Yahoo and whatever. So Hawks fam says, sorry, it's implementation of the underlying code that I believe is the issue, not a doctor, so I don't trust. Yeah. 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 you know, a lot of these companies, especially the crypto ones, it's very attractive, it's very sexy, it's very in, it's very new, it's hip. And I'm actually trying to get involved with some of the local tech startups in the San Diego area, simply because I would love to pick their brain about security or the lack of. Historically, as security folks, we assume that it's a startup, first to market, et cetera, et cetera. I'd love to pick some of these folks' brains about why don't they think about security, or not. And I know I'm going to get some. I know I'm going to get some answers in chat about well, first to market. I think maybe some of them don't really think about that, and it's like the crypto stuff, right? It's like, oh, I'm gonna throw out this crypto coin, and I'm gonna do all this stuff, and I'm going to build this technology behind it to be able to trade these things, never thinking about, well, somebody might actually want to be mean to me or my organization or my application and do me harm. Hey, Bloodbound. We've got quite a few followers in our chat right now. So Lady P says, here's the rule. If your Uber driver is telling you about their amazing investment, it's time to get out of it. Oh, get out of it, like out of the car or out of the investment? Is it, Lady P, is that what you're trying to say? Get out of the car? Thank you, CPO. Out of the investment. Okay. I was like, yeah, if your Uber person's telling you about their startup, time to get out. Just open the car door on the interstate and just roll when you hit the pavement. So there you go. Yeah, roll, tuck and roll, so that way do. But yeah, I would love to talk to some of the startup folks in San Diego. They do regular coffee sessions there, both virtually and in person. So, when I get down there, I'm actually trying to see if they're going to do like any Friday stuff while I'm down there in San Diego. I'm going to be down there the 20th through the 24th for B-Side San Diego. And I'm looking to see if I can join them for that. So, selling your coins out of the investment, it's already too late. Well, Lady P, maybe, I know NFL football players who, undrafted, they go, they're waiting for their chance to get there. Maybe the startups are very, very similar. You got a guy, person, their rags to riches story was, I was, a Lyft driver and now I'm making, billions of dollars. And, I've got, Lambos and yachts and helicopters and spaceships taking me to the moon and stuff. Eventually that's going to be a thing, right? So, but anyway, so crypto's being crypto, and people will continue to take it, and new things will pop up and old things will go away. And it's just kind of interesting. Oh yeah, there's my lo-fi chill. So yeah, Binance was robbed, but it sounds like they know where the money is and they're going to get it back, which is actually great from a response point of view. Binance knows what wallets some or all of the money is in, so they're minimizing the damage from an incident response point of view. And now I don't know if that's something they normally do, where they reach out to all of the security or the controllers of the group, the 46 that they had mentioned, or the 40 odd people, to say, hey, what do we do about this? Do we vote them off the island where they can't do anything? Do we just yank the money out of their wallet, which would lead to potential other trust issues in the future if Binance has the ability to just yank money out of your wallet at any time, regardless, without your authorization? That causes me some heartburn if I had a Binance account like I do at that place. I mean, they can have all the Dogecoin they want, because I think that's all I have in my Binance account, which of course I'm never going to get that money back. But Yeah, Bloodbound. The article that we had talked about said that they were working on 4 options. In this case, they wanted to know whether or not they should freeze or not freeze the money in those wallets. They also talked about crap. Let's see, it was a specific blog post that they had mentioned those 4 items. Whether to use auto burn to cover the remaining hacked funds or not. So they know where the money is and which wallets it's in. It sounds like for number 1, they want to know if whatever remainder is not covered in those wallets. Hey, thanks Hawks fam, appreciate that. Thank you so much for the bits. Appreciate you, sir, or person. Sorry, person. Don't know your pronouns. I apologize for that. They want to know if they want to auto burn to to replace the remaining money that was not found. So let's say 600 million is missing. They found all but 3 million. Do they have the ability to cover that 3 million and to do so? Bloodbound says Binance needs to talk to its community on exit plans because the reality is this happens and the community needs to come to an agreement for when things like this happen. Yeah, and it sounds like that's what they're doing for the governance. For a cryptocurrency that doesn't follow banking regulations and stuff, they have a governance on-chain governance board and things. So people are going to be making votes in the blockchain on what to do. So that's kind of an interesting concept too, right? But yeah, thank you, Hawks fam, for the bits. I appreciate that. Every little bit helps. As many of you on the stream and have known, and not necessarily the podcast, we're discontinuing the InfoSec Education Foundation because I'm not going to be in the state of Washington, and the majority of our officers are not in the state of Washington. And so it would either make more sense for me to discontinue it and reestablish it in California if I wanted to, or just not do it at all. So I've taken steps. Any monies that come in through the Twitch or through Patreon are now being routed to the savings account at my Navy Federal. Since we no longer have a nonprofit, I decided I still wanted to separate that money somehow and not just put it directly into my bank account. But any remaining monies that is left in the IEF bank account is being invoiced, and we're going to be donating the remainder out of that to charity. So why do all of these exchanges, CPO Parker says, why do all of these exchanges seem like banking firms minus all the regulatory oversight that might help when something goes wrong? CPO Parker, I think you said the quiet part out loud. Yeah. There's a reason that banks work the way they work and, track transactions and have, oversight and backing of a larger organization like a government or something like that. It's because of exactly what a somewhat mature organization like Binance is now finding out. They have a governance board now. They have apparently an auto burn feature was very much similar to the US FDIC. This is what they're wanting. They're wanting the ability to cover hacked funds, insurance, if you will. Bloodbound says, I wish I was in the US. I could give some bits from those Twitch ads. Oh, well, I appreciate that. I didn't realize we were still getting ads. I need to probably go and look and turn those off. I'm not a fan of the ads. If those are still happening, I can definitely turn those off, Bloodbound. DeFi, I need it to not be regulated. My crypto is hacked. We need regulation. Right, Hawks fan. Everybody's okay with, holding this stuff, but then, thinking that they're secure and safe. But, if you've got all this on the front end, like, two-factor auth and, token hardware tokens to protect your your finance stuff, but then it can just be yanked out through what amounts to the SWIFT network for cryptocurrency being the blockchain. That's not good. Or the middleware between two blockchains that, the code or the glue that is holding these two together. That's a problem. Oh, okay. CPO, I will look into that because I'm almost guaranteeing that I'm not getting anything from the ads because it depends on people fixing that. So I will fix that CPO because I don't see any need to run ads. Excuse me. I don't see a need to run ads if they're not helpful or they're just annoying. So I will turn those off when I get done streaming tonight. So think. A lot of good stuff here. Oh, I downloaded Visual Studio Code. I'm doing code reviews now at work, so I will have some stuff in the near future on some of that. I actually have an app. I think I'm going to probably take one of the games that I normally play and download the code for that and poke around inside of it. Red Team Recon, CHI St. Joseph Healthcare impacted by ransomware attack. Hospitals have issues like that. Ransomware file decryptor market. Okay, I didn't know that there was a market for file decryptors for ransomware, but it would make sense. Yeah, Bank of Brasilia attacked by ransomware demanding 50 Bitcoin. Oh, it's too bad. That's too bad. Uber hack reveals weakness in the human firewall. You assume that there's a firewall at all, right? This is interesting. Okay, so a hacker pierced. I'm not liking the way this is written. I'll put a link in the stream chat, but this is a blog post from somebody named John Blatt. He's John, if he is correct, he's like, a few days ago, hacker pierced Uber's security defenses to gain near total control of Uber's systems. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, it's not very long. He says, strong cybersecurity tools will only take you so far. Employees are essential to data protection. Companies must implement clear data protection policies and regularly train employees on proper security protocols. Reach out if you need help with this. Okay, so he stopped short of actually saying, hey, buy our piece of shit application, training stuff. My wife just got her doctorate in adult education, and I just went through annual security training in my office. Which annual security, I was trying to figure out if that acronym was ASS or not, but combination of clickbait and stating the obvious. Yeah, CPO. Humans are always, it's the same thing with the crypto stuff, right? We want to trust, we want to believe that that people are not having ill intent. I actually got email at work this week that said, hey, if you volunteer for this program, you'll get a $500 gift card. And the first thing I thought of was, it's October, it's InfoSec Awareness Month, and it was like the subject was like, win a $500 gift card for, and then I couldn't read the rest of it because it was too long of a subject. And then it was like inside, it was like, oh yeah, just sign up and, click here to sign up for this thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm not clicking that link because it's October, it's InfoSec Awareness Month. If I wanted to run a phishing campaign, this is when I would do it in, just before the annual security training, which is about to happen, get lit off. So I posted up into Slack with a screenshot of the email. I said, good try, Red Team folks. You're not going to get me that easily. And they're like, no, that's not ours. That's legit. And I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I should reach out to this team and go, do you know how fishy this sounds? How many people actually clicked on this? Because I was like, somebody else said, oh, that's the perfect trigger, isn't it? And I was like, goddamn right. I was like, I wasn't going to click this shit because I didn't even realize we get spam like that at work. But apparently there was a marketing group was wanting to get people to help volunteer for something. I didn't even bother reading the whole email, but and you could get a $500 gift card. So I was like, yeah, I'm good. So, yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. So, Bloodbound, people who put ransomware in hospitals is messed up. Yes, some people actually have ethics about, where they do their ransomware. Other folks don't do, what is necessary to, they have, they just spray and pray. And if a hospital or, a nursing home or something gets caught up in the ransomware, then so be it. It's unfortunate that there are some organizations that don't have any kind of ethics when trying to tear down the internet, but I doubt hospitals and or like nursing homes and child daycares or everything have 50 Bitcoin that they can just drop off there. So. Lady P says our HR department is constantly hiring external services to send welcome messages to everyone in the company that totally look yeah. Oh God, yeah. And the problem is how many people actually clicked on those legitimate $500 gift card things. It's like, is $500 worth it? Apparently it is, because I would love to see their metrics on how many people clicked on those things. It's greater than one, I would imagine, and that's really all they need, right? Our HR department is constantly hiring external services to send welcome messages to everyone that totally look fishy. We get slaughtered in IT with the "is this safe" tickets every stinking time, but at least people are cautious. Yeah, Lady P, at least you're getting people who are asking the question, "Is this safe?" That, I would say, that's 90% of what people want to see, and it's cool that you're actually seeing that. Asking people if it's safe. It's important that people report that stuff, and it's good that you have a culture where people feel like they can ask that question or report that without like, oh my God, without reprisals. That's good to see, Lady P. We don't need them to do phishing. HR does it for us. I wouldn't say HR is teaching people the wrong thing, but it's it's interesting there. Bloodbound says it's better than them being annoying than reckless. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I actually looked when I saw the email and it came out and it was like, win $500. I was like, is this spam? Am I getting spam? I don't even advertise who I work for. How the fuck am I getting spam? And then it was like, oh no, this is legitimate. This is an at our domain. And I was like, okay. So I made the joke that I was putting in an email rule so that anything, from, at our domain gets deleted to the trash. I was like, I fixed the spam filter. And everybody's like, yeah, you fixed email too. And I was like, hey, damn right. Yeah, Lady P, 100% agree on the phishing test. I wonder how HR would feel about that by going to HR and saying, hey, the way that they're sending these emails is exactly how somebody who would be trying to infiltrate our organization would do. It's probably definitely not something they're thinking about. They just want people to be informed. They want people to, be welcomed to the organization in such a way that, it garners as good a feeling as they can get. So, I mean, there's, Digital Warhead, would you do open source code reviews? Digital Warhead, yes, I can and would. My worry is kind of a twofold thing. I've talked about this on previous streams. It's like, let's say I do wget, little program, pretty much used everywhere by a ton of things, including things like IoT, for doing updates, because it's a nice, easy client that you can just shove into a Dropbear instance, not Dropbear, like the micro Linux thing. They have, an implementation of that for like, small versions of Linux or embedded systems. You put in a wget library to get updates. Let's say I find during my code review on a very public stream, for instance, a crushingly bad bug, like the next Dirty Cow or, Heartbleed or whatever for wget. I'm not saying I would, but let's just say I did. Now, immediately I'm going to have to go, well, how do I post this up as an issue? Should I post this up as an issue? Oh shit. The, people who are in stream chat right now just saw, this vulnerability, and hey, I've pointed it out to people, and now not one person, myself, knows, but 8 other people know that this is a vulnerability. So now the clock is ticking. Maybe it's worth $1 million in a bug bounty somewhere that I didn't know about. Maybe Lady P's like, hey, with this $1 million, I can go and retire in my house with my, off the grid, setup and everything. I'm not saying Lady P would do that because she's got ethics, I think. Bloodbound's doing his face, maybe it's got it. Maybe I'm doing something that has a legitimate bug bounty behind it. And now I have to figure out how to raise this as an issue to the developers and, or, race the clock to stop the next dirty cow from happening. And I've publicly disclosed an O-Day on Twitch. Yes, maybe I will get a few more followers on my Twitch stream, which, no, wait, that would be bad. But see, Lady P, Lady P, you're supposed to be the ethical one here. She says 110% I would if the money is right. Damn it, Lady P, you're supposed to be the voice of reason. Two types of people, those who are honest enough to admit they can be bought and those that deny it. Yeah, I heard the adage one time that everybody has a price. And everybody has a price. And they will do whatever you want if you can even, hit that price. There's some that may actually say, well, it'd be $10 million for me to do anything. I bet if you offered them 5, depending on what that thing is, Yeah, great. Now we're just in negotiating terms. Exactly, Lady P. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's a ton of things there. So, pseudo manuscript sinkholing. Interesting. This is an article from BitSite. So they say at BitSite we do a lot of malware sinkholing, and by late 2021 we started registering some DGA-like domains, which is domain generating algorithms. That not only did not belong to any domain, they mentioned it here, domain generating algorithms, but are also being classified as different types of malware like Smoke Loader, Private Loader, Socelars, Socelars, and Redline. Okay, there you go. Registered more than 50 domains, all in the form a-jm-r 10.com. Oh, okay. So there's some kind of random generator there. Oh, interesting. Okay. So this is a blog post from BitSite talking about infections or sinkholing of domains. So they are sitting on some domains to get a better sense of the infection chain and hopefully reach a sample that will communicate with our sinkholes. Okay. Here's a link. I'm going to put that in the chat here. CPO Parker, I love that joke. Okay. All right. So I'll post this up. Make sure I keep this link available. But so there's some discussion there on how they do sinkholing, detections. So obviously, when they buy the domains as done, and what they're doing is they're buying up domains that are being randomly generated. And once the DGAs get to the point where they're using that domain, it obviously goes to wherever BitSite has them located. All right, Beta Wolf, have a good day. Beta Wolf is a little busy. Page not found. Did I do something wrong? Oh, maybe I didn't grab the whole link. That's really weird. I'm not sure why I wouldn't pop the whole thing in there. There we go. Try that again there, CPO Parker. Oh, I think I added the V at the end on that link. My bad. But yeah, they are keeping track of those things. Articles description on how pseudo manuscript is distributed and communicates with C2 matches what we're seeing and filled the gap for some of our unknowns. So manuscript is a what is it? What does it do? I don't see even a link here for it. Specific malware family. Okay, so it's some kind of malware. Uses a Wayback Machine page that does not resolve. They detail how they traced a sample for the specific malware family going from the domains in their traffic to a recently dubbed family pseudo by Kaspersky. Okay. So that's a pretty interesting discussion. Looks like they're going to have part 2 on this if they don't already. Definitely has some code in here on this. But yeah, talking about messages, conclusions. What's part? I wonder what part 2 is going to be about. Maybe they'll have some more information on that. But it's from BitSight, so go check that out. They don't sponsor the show. It's just some of their threat intel, blog posts. They have IOCs for various domains that you can get from VirusTotal. So go grab that. And go check out their site if that's something you're looking for as well. So, well, I'm gonna end the podcast right now. I hope everyone who's listening to the podcast I wouldn't say is okay with the new format. It's not a new format, but it's been a bit since we've done a show on the podcast, and I wanted to make sure that you're getting some news, you're getting some information, you're getting some insight. You can follow me on Twitter at BreakSec and the podcast at BreakSec. At Brian Break is my Twitter. Miss Berlin is at InfoSyster, INFOSYSTIR. Mr. Betcher is at BetcherPwned, BOETTCHERPWNED. We have a Discord, discord.gg/BreakSec. We've got a lot of folks on there, 167 people. We have regular members. We have a lot of fun talking about various things. I figured out how to do spoilers the other day in Discord, and we were talking about the Wheel of Time books that I'm running the audio podcast on, or audio books on. But we, talk about other things as well. We have threat intelligence channels. I do have hard dates now for the recordings for the malware analysis class with the CyberSec Diva. We're going to do the next session on the 14th, the 28th of October, and November 11th, which is Veterans Day. So we're going to be recording the next 3 sessions of those. Those are on Fridays, so I may do a Thursday stream instead of a Friday stream. But you can go to twitch.tv/BreakSec for those things as well. So I'm going to go. Thank you all for being on the podcast. If you're Twitch streaming, I'm going to continue doing some stuff here in the next few minutes, so don't run away. But have a good weekend. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves, because as we're fond of saying, you're the only you are. And we'll talk soon. Okay, and we're done. All right, back to the stream. I just Lady P, run away. Yeah, no, the other thing was, the schedule with Mr. Betcher, Miss Berlin, and myself have been a little wonky as late, and it's been a couple of weeks since we've done podcast, which back in the day we were doing them regularly on a weekend, right? And it's been harder and harder because, Miss Berlin's affianced, she's got family stuff going on. Mr. Betcher's got some family stuff going on. And, it's been a couple of weeks since we've done a show, so I just wanted to get something pushed out there that was semi-professional. So, Lady P, don't, yeah. I would love for the podcast to transfer to more views on Twitch, but I know that that's not possible. I'm trying to be as legitimate as, I can be with that. But yeah, we, I know. I'm just kidding. There's a lot of folks that actually still get a lot of value out of that. We still get quite a few downloads of the podcast. I needed to let them know because it's been a couple weeks since we'd podcasted, and, the IEF stuff is something that I wished had stayed on longer, but, it's just one of those things that happen. There's changes happening. And if anybody is interested in how much, you know what, we're still a nonprofit until we've turned it off. So I want to show you, I'm going to pull the thing back here. So, one of the things the officer said before we disestablished the nonprofit was that I should invoice for the, cost of doing things, because I have made mention several times on this stream that I don't do a very good job of using the nonprofit. I pay for a lot of things out of pocket, and always have. One of those things being meetup.com. So I have receipts for all of this. I can go back. I actually have screenshots for a lot of this stuff. But so I started 2019. We established the nonprofit in March 20th of 2019 to 31 November is when it's going to be disestablished. So they said, you should go back and figure out what all you are, paying out of pocket. And I was like, oh, it's probably, a couple $100, no problem, whatever. And after I tallied it up, because I'm paying for the meetup out of pocket, I'm paying for the Zoom that we use for the podcast and for the, trainings and everything that we do. And that costs cash. This is a yearly payment of $325.59. The G Suite is the IEF's G Suite, which again, I was paying out of my own pocket. I was not taking cash from or using the credit card from our nonprofit. And this is a screenshot of the bank statement, which I can scroll over and show you as of a couple of weeks ago when I did this. I think we had 2 accounts, and I think when it bumped up to like $39 or $45, it was like 3 accounts. But this is just over the months how the prices have kept increasing. And then of course Libsyn, which is how I publish the podcast, is $22 a month, which I found out I can actually lower the cost of that to $7 and still get the stats that I need or want. And the other one, which is surprisingly expensive, is domain registration. So for paying for things like the InfoSec Education Foundation domain was $43.16 for 2 years. InfoSec Campbell was $43.16. BreakSec, paying for the domain for that is $60 for 2 years. BreakingSecurity.com and any of the other ones that I own, including the wrong way to spell Breaking Security. I think Breaking Security down here, BREAKING Security, just in case somebody doesn't know how to spell my last name. And TLS certs for Breaking Security is quite expensive as well. SSL renewals, $160 for 2 years for BreakingSecurity.com. Come to find out, over the past at least 3 years, I've spent roughly $5,800, about $6,000 in 3 years. And I told him, I was like, I won't take $6,000 because that's real shitty. And I don't want to do that. And, because the idea is we're a nonprofit and we should be doing that. The officers and, when I told my wife this, she was like, no, you should, actually do that because you could actually run into some issues with the government if they wanted to see your receipts and wonder why you're paying for this yourself and not the nonprofit. So the problem is it's pretty much going to wipe us out, because that's how much money we have currently in the account, about $6,500. And that blows goats. And the funny thing is we'd had no money in the account if I hadn't have been using my own personal account. And as a nonprofit, I'm supposed to have transparent books anyway. So any of you wanted to see the books, this is what it is. But I do have receipts. I do have payment histories for all of these things. I actually did keep fairly good records in that respect because, at least with the business checking number, it's not my money. I don't consider that. I've never considered that $6,500 my money. And I've every time we do a meeting or something, I send over a screenshot and a PDF of the last amounts. As you can see, Eventbrite, we took in $1,300. I actually paid money from my own bank account because we had a couple people who paid at the door for the conference. It wasn't $75. I actually put more money back in than I should have. Again, I don't do very well at things, so I just kind of rounded up. This was paying off the logos. Nuka Bell, who did our logos. Eventbrite, paid us off. Amazon Smile, for those of you who don't know, until just recently, if you go to smile.amazon.com, you can actually look up InfoSec Education Foundation, and when you made purchases on Amazon, they give us X number of dollars. So after so many times, you get a payout. This was some money that I charged for groceries and supplies and wood for the conference. And this is Twitch payments. Every time you give me bits or you give me subscriptions or do Prime subscriptions, every $100 they would cash us out. And I've changed the Twitch payout to my own account. But yeah, we have roughly $6,500 in the account right now as of the 20th of March. It doesn't change much. At the most, I would probably get another $20 or so from Amazon. Patreon may have cashed out. It cashes out on a monthly basis. But yeah, I don't I'm going to have to invoice them for this. I'm not, as the president, I'm not going to authorize it. I'm not going to approve it. I'm going to make my other two officers do so there's no conflict of interest there. And then whatever we have left is going to probably be donated to charity. So if any of you have any questions on that, please let me know. It's probably killed whatever listeners I had right now because this is probably boring as shit. But I doubt a lot of nonprofits actually show this deep into the monies, which, we do have in our bylaws that if anybody asks, we have to pony up the books. But there's definitely some austerity measures that I'm going to put into place. I've already done so. I've actually dropped the Libsyn from $22 a month to the $7 basic stats plus like 160 megs of space for the hard drive for the podcast. I don't think we ever used 400 megs ever when we were even recording on a weekly basis. The G Suite will go away. So that'll be cheaper for me because I'm not charged $50 roughly every month for G Suite. The Zoom, I'm probably going to get rid of the Zoom as well. If we continue to do stuff with Mr. Betcher and Miss Berlin on a regular basis with the podcast, we'll probably just try to use Hangouts or something like that. Or, I'll force them to get a Discord account and we can use the Discord channels, the voice channels for that, which work fairly well anyway, and it's free. Meetup, I just got charged another $109 for CSEC East, which is the other reason I was like, I'm going to turn it off in April, probably 31st of March. I'll step down for that, so I won't get charged another $109 for that out of pocket. And yeah, most of this will go away. I'll still have the domain registration stuff, but if enough people are kind to me on my Twitch, the $60 or how much ever Breaking Security gets for, a year for TLS and all that stuff will hopefully pay for it. And my out of pocket will be very minimal, but, yeah. Boring, I know, but, for those of you who want to get into nonprofitry, like CPO Parker was talking to me about, it's not cheap. And if you don't do it right and, we're definitely, the Patreon is not paying for how much ever this was. I mean, we were charging, I think I get about $85 to $90 a month on that. I need to go back and actually figure out what all is going on with that. But yeah, we're not breaking even by any way, shape, or form. And if I had done a better job of using the company card instead of my own personal cards for these things, we would have like $600 in the account right now. So yeah. The officers will approve this, and whatever's left over will go to charity. So, but yeah, if anybody has any questions watching this stream, I will be as open a book as I can be. Everything was above board. I do have payment histories for all of these things. I can show you specific months that I got charged what, and I'm still trying to figure out if there's other things that I've forgotten that I am paying for out of pocket. I don't think so, but if there was anything else, it may have been like setting up Patreon or something like that. But yeah. Boy, I just killed the chat, didn't I? Just poof, just all went away. Poof. But yeah. Anyway, it sucks having, going back to the beginning of the stream here, asking people to step up for, oh, I appreciate that, Lady P. Thank you. I'm not trying to be snarky either. And it's not like, I'm embezzling funds or anything. All of that stuff was just on my own personal card. And it just never occurred to me when I stood up the IEF that I needed to put this on the company cards. The bigger problem would have been, there were probably several months where we didn't have enough money to cover that in there. Okay. I appreciate that, Lady P. I didn't actually think of it being all that serious. It's just if you're doing a nonprofit, don't do what I did. It's going to be very easy for you to pooch it like I've done and pay for it out of pocket. And then that builds up over time. Right. I mean, I was paying for the podcast out of pocket before the IEF. which means, I was paying, $22 a month and domain registration, before the IEF was a thing. And some of that was being offset by Patreon, but, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. So the next nonprofit, if I decide I'm crazy enough to do one, or, if I join a board of a nonprofit, I'll be like, look, finances are no fucking joke. I've always said that money in that bank account for Wells Fargo has never been my money. I let my officers know as soon as I use the company card. I mean, I guess I should. I do register in the state of Washington and federally for 501c3 nonprofit, and I think I've used the credit card for that a few times. But there's no problem. There's other problems with that commingling funds. You should be loaning that to the NPO, non-purchase order, never propagate options, nonprofit org. Oh, okay, yeah. I told him, I was like, I don't want to take all that money because it felt shitty. But they were like, no, you're actually could run into some issues if you don't. So I was like, all right, I'll write up an invoice. I'll make sure that y'all are the ones who are going to approve it, not me, because I don't want the COI, the conflict of interest. So, but yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, and commingling was a thing that I was worried about. So, but yeah, when the nonprofit goes away, it's going to be back to the way it was before 2019. So it's like all of my money is my money, and then I'm going to have to talk with Mr. Betcher and Miss Berlin about some kind of equitable share of whatever we get or whatever I get, which means if they don't want to get paid, then I'll make sure that we get that in writing so that, nothing comes back. But yeah, it's one of those things. So, I think I need to take my daughter to homecoming tonight, even though you can literally cut the air with a fork and knife. Air quality's been shit here the last 3 weeks because of all the fires and everything going on. So, I'm going to go, but like I said, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about what I talked about earlier in the stream, please let me know, and I can definitely CC our existing officers. But yeah, when you're managing a nonprofit, just make sure that you keep good receipts, or at least payment histories or what have you, and always never assume that money is yours. I've never assumed any of the Wells Fargo money was mine, or anyone else's. And, because everyone gives that and trusts that we're doing, what we're supposed to do with that money, which is the overall arching principles of, expanding education and stuff. I don't even pay, all the stuff that I've paid for streaming and whatever. It's all come out of pocket, which is the other thing. It was like, I've never, that could be a problem too. Like, if I paid for this with the IEF credit card, that was, 8-9 years ago, but, all of this come out of my own pocket. So, I mean, the hardware stuff, is going to be mine. It is actually mine. I paid for it myself. It wasn't used by the credit card, but yeah, it's one of those things. It makes things kind of complicated, but I tried to make sure that everything had its own nice little bundle, this little pile, if you will. So, I know, Lady P. I mean, I paid for Mr. Betcher and Miss Berlin's Focusrites, their microphones as well in the before times. Make sure we all had the same audio. I paid for that personally, and I hear some thumping coming down the hallway. So, but yeah, I mean, hardware stuff was never paid for by the IEF or the IEF cards. So, it felt like I couldn't do that because, these are going to survive the nonprofit. So I just need to, no, I just probably need to take my daughter to homecoming or to the tailgating thing that's going on at the high school. They do college football on Friday nights. So, but yeah, so, yeah, like I said, questions, comments, concerns, let me know on the Slack or the Discord, or on Twitter. If you want to see more books or more receipts or anything to make sure we're on the up and up, and just know that the money you're donating to me now is going to be going to my savings account, not my checking account, and I will have some accurate, things of that. But it will be going to support me and Mr. Betcher and Miss Berlin until such a time as Mr. Betcher and Miss Berlin don't want to do this anymore. And when that happens, I'll let everybody know when that happens, or if that happens, and what will happen from then on. So just let y'all know that. So cool. Everyone have a good weekend. You know what? Who is online right now? TV. Let's go find out. If anybody, I think Makerspace is on. Tiberius. Oh. 0x TIB 3RIUS. All right, well, let's go raid Tiberius. So there it is. All right, so we're gonna go. Oh, we will. We'll enjoy and hang out and everybody. So hope everyone has a good weekend, and we'll all talk soon. Bye, y'all.